Okay, I'll record on this computer. Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Jnananjanjalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Gadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. He Krishna Karna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Radha Kanta Namaste. Taptaganchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanuste Devi Pranamami Hari Priyai. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिव साधि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So the homework was properties of the soul. It is so nice, right? Radhanath Maharaj and Bhakti Charu Swami, Bhakti Chari Swami Maharaj passed away this year. Okay, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You can.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Thursday's chapter 2. We have to read text 27 or we read it?
We finished 27, Mataji.
Okay. What was the homework? Properties of the soul?
Properties of the soul and memorizing the slokas 22, 20.
Okay, so let's finish. Okay, no.
30.
Someone who's memorized can tell me number of verses. What were they? What verses were they? 7, 11, 13, 14. What else? Tell me.
Mataji is raising the hand.
Yeah.
I know the 14th.
You know 13th and 14th.
Oh, 13.
What supposed to be memorized? Krishna. No, everybody is busy, I think. Let's see. I have 7, 11, 13, 14, then 20, 22, 20.
22, Mataji.
22. And then?
I remember 20.
20, 22, 23, 27. 23, 27. For your class. Yes, so who memorized which verse? Please, whatever verse you have memorized, if you have not memorized all the verses, that's fine. But whatever. Yes, can this Mataji?
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dhandeshwari Mataji. Happy Diwali.
I recited Mataji, but I am not able to full-fledged memorize. I have not done Mataji. All the up to 20, I think up to 20.
Very nice. So you want to?
But I'm not able to recollect everything. Maybe if I practice more, I may get it, Mataji.
Yeah, she can be your friend.
Okay.
Isha can be your friend. Okay, which one?
I'm sure I do. Which one?
13 and 14. Tehino.
Tehino asmani tadehe kamaram yavnam jara tata dehantara prati dira satana mohiyati.
Very nice. Then 14.
What? Matra spashastu kanteya sidoshana sukatukadaha agama paino nityastam stiktik chishva bharata.
Na jayate.
Very nice. Very nice.
Mriyate
Isha Mataji.
Dakshan Nayam Bhuvito Bhavita Vanahi Bhuya Ajo Nitya Shashvatoyam Purano Na Hanyate Hanyamane Sharire.
Thank you so much. Yes. So we have 3 verses here memorized. Anyone else memorized even one? Nobody memorized even one verse?
Mataji, I am not able to.
I have done Mataji.
Okay,
but I will do it, Mataji.
Okay. Who was speaking? I don't know. Which Mataji was saying done?
No, Mataji, Shashi Prasad Prabhu was talking.
No, I know your voice, Prabhu, but there was one Mataji who was saying I have done.
Gayatri.
Okay, go ahead, Mataji.
Which one?
Whichever one, you tell me.
Okay. How did this? Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavvanam jara tata dehantara praptihi dheerastatra na mohiyati.
Very nice. It's
मात्रा स्पष्टास्तु कौन्तेय शीतोष्ण सुख दुःखद आगमापायिनो नित्याः तां स्थितिक्षस्व भारत
very nice. Any more?
न जायते
माता
म्रियते वा कदाचित् नायं भूत्वा भविता वा न भूयः अजो नित्यः शाश्वतोऽयं पुराणे न हन्यते हन्यमाने शरीरे.
Very nice. Thank you, Mataji. Any more?
या वासांसि
Mataji,
जीर्णानि यथा विहाय
One.
नवानि गृह्णाति नरोपराणि तथा शरीराणि विहाय जीर्ण अन्यन्यानि संयाति
Bhavani,
नवानि देहि.
nice. Any more? Nayanam Siddhanti.
या नैनं चिन्दन्ति शस्त्राणि नैनं दहति पावकः न चैनं क्लेदयन्त्यापो न शोचयति मारुतः.
Nice, Mataji. I'm so proud of you. Yes, Prabhu, you were trying to say something?
yes, Mataji. Even Sita Mataji also has prepared something she was telling. She can also recite.
Yeah. I know. She has. Any other words? Gayatri Mataji? Okay. Thank you, Mataji.
Mataji, I have tried to memorize verse number 7.
Okay. Go ahead, Mataji.
कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभाव पृच्छामि त्वं धर्मसम्मूढचेतः यच्छ्रेयस्य निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यातिहं साधिमं त्वं प्रपन्नम्.
Thank you, Mataji. Very nice. Yes, Sita Mataji. We can have
Like the volunteering of
11 people.
Hare Krishna Mataji. I think I did till 20, so I'll go 2.11. Shri Bhagwan Uvacha Ashocha na ashochan swatam pragyavadam cha bhashyase gatasun na gatasun cha nanushanti pandita.
Nanu Sochanti Panditaha.
Oh, nanushanti.
Very nice.
And then 12 was Natve Vaham Jatu Nasham. Natve Vaham Jatu Nasham. Na tavam nemi janadhipa. Na chaiva na bhavisham sarve vyamat param.
Na tvene aham na bhavishyam. Sarve, what did you say? I got confused now. Sarve?
Sarve vyamat param.
Okay, very nice, Mataji. Go ahead. That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Very nice. Go ahead.
13 was Dehino asmin yatha dehe Kaumaram Yovanam Jara Kaumaram Yovanam Jara Tatha Dehantara Praptir Dhiras Tatrana Mihati.
Excellent. Dhiras Tatrana Mohyati. Bewildered.
Mohyati.
Then Matra.
Matra Spashatu Konteya Shishotana Sukha Dukha Daha Agama Panyo Anityas Tam Shitikshava Bharata.
Very nice. You're doing it alone? When do you do it? When you drive to work or when?
Oh no, this is like 2 weeks in making, trying to remember English words and then trying to put the words in there. And it's difficult to follow the previous verses, like where they are all singing and it's like, I have to put like word association to try and memorize my name.
Very nice. 20th?
What was the first one? 20.
That's okay if you don't remember. I am already impressed.
I think it was
Jayate
na jayate mriyate vakadachin nayanam. I think I always mess up. Nayanam bhutva bhavita vana bhuya ajo nitya shasvato yam purano na hanyate hanyamane sharire.
Excellent. Very nice. I am so proud. All the girls are rocking. Boys are challenged now. Okay, so this is healthy competition. This one, Vashamshi Jirnani Yatha Vihai, Navani Grihani Naro Priyani, Tata
No, Mataji, I was only able to do 20.
Jirnani, okay. Anyani Sanyati Navani Dehi. Okay, so which verse? Anybody else? Am I missing out? You all have a power to unmute yourself. Anybody else? Very quickly. Even one verse. Okay. The next was properties of the soul. So who can tell me? One person. Who can tell me?
Yes, Mataji. Properties of soul. It is eternal. It cannot be moist by water. It can't be burnt by fire. It can't be withered away by the wind. And
Cut by weapons.
yes, it's like indestructible, immutable, and yes,
Fixed.
so much I remember it. Remember that to.
Very nice. Fixed, kutastha, and immovable. Very nice. So what?
Conceivable, invisible.
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
Mataji. Sorry. Oh.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
That's what I was telling. Adding invisible, inconceivable. Okay, it doesn't have birth. It's not death. There's no death also. So that's what.
Very nice. Anybody else?
Mataji Surigai.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. Soul cannot be cut. Soul cannot be burned. It cannot be moistened. It cannot be withered by the wind. Soul is unbreakable, insoluble. It can neither be burned or dried. It is everlasting. It is all pervading. It is unchangeable. It is immovable, and is eternally the same. It's invisible, inconceivable, and immutable.
And fixed. Very nice.
Fixed, yeah.
Very nice. Last week, what all verses did we cover? From what to what?
I think we did till 27.
From 22 to 27, Mataji.
Okay. Thank you. So 22 was Vasham Shrijnani. Shailesh Kumar Prabhu, do you remember anything? You shared your homework with me. Thank you. Do you want to share properties of the soul here?
I cannot say by the memory, but I can read it out if it is required.
Okay, that's fine. You worked hard.
Just a minute.
So 22nd, and then let's do today 28, 29, 30. So one compassion is over.
Should I go ahead now?
Go ahead, Prabhu, please.
Just one moment. I'm unable to locate it.
So I usually divide as physical properties and chemical properties. So physical properties is what? Nanam Chintanti Shastrani, Nanam Dhati Pavaka. Yes, Sita Mataji, what are you trying to? Go ahead.
We didn't talk about the size of the soul, ma'am. That could be a physical property. It is 1/10,000th part of a tip of a hair. And 2.17, it says that the soul is floating in 5 kinds of air. Soul sits in the heart of every living entity, and symptom of a soul is consciousness. I don't know if that would be a property. And soul neither slays or is slain. So I don't know if that would be a property too. That I can add up.
Very nice. Yes.
Mataji, soul does not gain weight or height or texture. It remains the same always.
Yeah, that's the meaning of the fixed, kuthastha.
Yeah.
Always the same. Yes. Yes, Prabhu, you're ready?
Yeah, now I'm ready.
Okay.
Is it audible?
Very nicely audible.
Okay. Eternally an individual identity and part and parcel of the Supreme. Soul is unborn and does not take birth. Soul is indestructible and eternal and therefore never dies. Soul is immeasurable. It is too small to be measured by any means. Reference is given in Upanishad as 1/10,000th tip of the hair. Soul never undergoes changes. Soul is steady, does not undergo 6 changes like the body, that is the birth in the womb of the mother's body, remains for some time, grows, produces some effect, gradually dwindles, and at last vanishes into oblivion. Change of the body is as natural as the change of boyhood to the youth to old age. Nobody laments for such a natural change. King Yai traded his old age and got a fresh youthful body that was the cause of rejoicing, immutable, never changes like matter, unlike body which goes through the six changes, never become God, soul, always remain atomic to the infinite, supreme, cannot be cut, burnt, dried, or wet, immovable, unchangeable, everlasting, eternal, the same. Position of the soul, situated in the region of the heart and Mandrake, as per Mandrake Upanishad, present everywhere, Sarvagata. Living entities are also present in the sun and fire. How to perceive the soul? Soul is invisible and inconceivable. No human experiment can conceive the soul. Symptoms of the soul. Soul is perceived by individual consciousness. The only proof of the soul, Vedic scriptures, is as per the Shruti. Influence of soul pervades entire body. Analogy, like sun pervades entire universe and mountains, similarly, light of the soul maintains the material body. Analogy, active principle of the medicine spread all over the body. Effect on air, on life airs, on soul. Soul is surrounded by 5 kinds of life airs, that is prana, apana, vyana, samana, udana. Hatha Yoga helps in liberation. This is it.
Very nice.
Yeah. Thank you.
Studied so far. Very nice. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Okay, so 22nd verse, we studied that the soul does not go any changes like the body undergoes. As we give up the clothes, the old garments, so the time just gives up the old body and takes another one, old and useless one. It gives it up and takes another one. It's not so easy though, right? We are reading it, but it's still not so easy. The Krishna is the witnessing bird and Arjuna is the eating bird, and the body is compared to the tree. So forgetfulness of the relationship between soul and super soul is the cause of suffering of the soul. That is the only problem. Our soul has no other problem. It's just one problem that we are fighting against, our natural inclination. The Nanam Chadanti Shastrani, this is easy to understand. It cannot be cut. 4 things were there, right? Cut or burnt or moistened or withered. So, but that does not mean that we should commit violence on other people. That does not mean that. Individual soul, unbreakable, insoluble, burnt, neither burnt, nor dried, everlasting, all pervading, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. So this can be very well confused with the Mayavadi philosophy that it is all pervading. So that means that it is Brahman Jyoti, because Brahman Jyoti is all pervading, immovable and eternally the same, unchangeable. It actually, if it is not understood properly from Acharya or spiritual master, we will never be able to reach the goal. I was listening to Prabhupada today. He was saying that the scriptures are available. Why people are reading it, but why are they not becoming Krishna conscious? Why? Why are they not becoming? Because they are not reading it in under proper guidance. The language of the Vedas is very, very confusing. This is confusing. Now I'm confusing you. Everlasting, all pervading, immovable, eternally the same, unchangeable. This is the characteristic of Brahmajyoti also. Right? So if it is not properly understood under the guidance of a spiritual master or acharya, we can think that, oh, this is a Mayavad philosophy. So soul is energy. There is no individuality. But no, it is not like that, because because individual soul is never expected to become one homogeneously. Prabhupada is writing here. It's not that that when the soul goes back to Krishna, if it gets purified, not every soul is going back, but if it gets purified of its material conditioning, that doesn't mean that it becomes one with Krishna. Srila Rupa Goswami gives an analogy. The analogy is that if there is a very thick green tree, and there is a green parrot, so the green parrot goes and sits in the green tea. Why am I saying tea? Green tree. So that doesn't mean that the parrot has merged into the tree. The parrot is still maintaining its individuality. That's Rupa Goswami Prabhupada's analogy. So even if the soul goes and sits in Brahmajyoti, it still remains an individual. It still remains. So Mayavad philosophy is nowhere actually logical. Sarvagataha, it is all pervading. It is not that there is nothing in the fire. Fire also has living entities. We get more information about microorganism. There are so many people studying microorganisms, so many scientists, so many doctors. They have still not found the smallest microorganism. They still find the smaller than the smallest every year. Brahma Samhita says the name of the smallest microorganism is Indragopa. Smallest microbe, which is made in the creation of Krishna, is Indragopa. Not go and tell this to a scientist or so many people who are doing research. Then they find it? No. So invisible, we cannot see it with these eyes. Inconceivable, we cannot conceive the personality of the soul right now. Immutable, it does not change as the body changes. And immutable means that it does not become something else. The body, for example, the body can, let's say that there is a woman body, but somebody wants to make it a male body. So there is a procedure to do that, because it's a body is just a dress, we can change dress. There is a procedure to do that. Some people change, right, the male body to female body or female body to male body. I have seen it. I have seen stepwise procedure, stepwise surgery. I have worked with such patients in my life. So they change under the effect of hormones and whatnot, as therapy and surgeries. But the soul doesn't change. The soul remains the same, just the body has changed. That is the meaning of the word immutable. And then this, we think that if we think, now Krishna talks about logic here. Before, up to 25, it was jnana. From 26, Krishna starts logic. Logically, Arjuna, logically, even if you think that soul is perpetually born and always dies, still you have no reason to lament, because whatever is born is going to die. So what is there? It's just a matter of time. Something which is coming anyway. That's a logic. No emotions. Just logic. And here in 27, we studied again another logic. One who has taken his birth, death is certain, and one who is dead, birth is certain. Can you please go near, because I'm tired of cleaning up. Sorry. Or bring this blade near your mouth. Okay. Sorry. For one who is dead, birth is certain. Therefore, in unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament. So whoever is born will die, or whoever is dead will be born again. So this is chemical changes going on. And I gave example of if I have water in a water tray, freezer tray, and I put water and I put it in the freezer, and after some hours, ice comes out, ice cubes. So should I cry that what happened to the water? It became ice cube. So like that, Krishna is giving logic. I am not realized. Prabhupada, you hear, you get different experience altogether of listening to these verses. But from me, you will not get it. But logically, I'm just trying to say that this is what Krishna is saying. But that does not mean that, again, this is the second time Prabhupada is writing in the second chapter. At the same time, violence and war are inevitable factor in human society for keeping law and order. Everything has its proper use. We cannot say that because we have taken to Krishna consciousness, so I don't have to work. Krishna will, do everything. Everything will come on its own accord. Let me just rest or chant japa 24 hours. Prabhupada said if someone is like Haridas Thakur, then they can do it. Otherwise, they will just smoke bidi or sleep only. He says that. So we don't want to be a Sahajiya Bhakta. Sahajiya, this is called Sahajiya Bhakti. Sahajiya, dressed up like a devotee, talk like a devotee, walk like a devotee, but in the heart there is no devotion. There is laziness. So any questions, or I think we can start this, right? 28 verse. If no questions. Who would like to chant this verse? Yes, Sita Mataji.
Oh, no, I said sorry, no doubts. Nothing.
Okay, very nice. Annapurna Mataji, you want to chant this verse, 28th?
Mataji, I'll chant.
Hi, Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna Mataji. Avyakta dini bhutani vyakta madhyani bharata avyakta nidhananya iva tatra ka paridevanam. All created beings are unmanifest in the beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when they are annihilated. So, what need is there for lamentation? Purport. Accepting that there are two classes of philosophers, one believing in the existence of soul and the other not believing in the existence of soul, there is no cause for lamentation in either case. Non-believers in the existence of soul are called atheists by followers of Vedic wisdom. Yet, even if for argument's sake we accept the atheist theory, there is still no cause for lamentation. Apart from the separate existence of soul, the material elements remain unmanifested before creation. From this subtle state of unmanifestation comes manifestation. Thus, as from ether, air is generated, from air, fire is generated, from fire, water is generated, and from water, earth becomes manifested. From earth, many varieties of manifestation takes place. Take, for example, a big skyscraper manifested from earth. When it is dismantled, the manifestation becomes again unmanifested and remains as atom in the ultimate stage. The law of conservation of energy remains, but in the course of time, things are manifested and unmanifested. That is the difference. Then what is the cause? What cause is there for lamentation either in the stage of manifestation or unmanifestation? Somehow or the other, even in the unmanifested stage, their things are not lost. Both at the beginning and at the end, all elements remain unmanifested, and only in the middle are they manifested. And this does not make any real material difference. And if we accept the Vedic conclusion as stated in Bhagavad Gita, Antavanta ime dehan, that is, these material bodies are perishable in due course of time. Nityas yoktah sari rinaha. But that soul is eternal. Then we must remember always that the body is like a dress. Therefore, why lament the changing of a dress? The material body has no factual existence in relation to the eternal soul. It is something like a dream. In dream, we may think of flying in sky, sitting on a chariot as a king. But when we wake up, we can see that we are neither in the sky nor seated in the chariot. The Vedic wisdom encourages self-realization on the basis of non-existence of the material body. Therefore, in either case, whether one believes in the existence of soul or does not believe in the existence of soul, there is no cause of lamentation for the loss of the body.
Very nice.
Hare Krishna.
So he's again giving, this is analytical study. Analytical study is called Sankhya philosophy. And I analyze what are the ingredients. So this is, he's using the Sankhya now. So unmanifested in the beginning, everything. So everything in the beginning is unmanifested. And the total material energy, which is unmanifested in the beginning, is called as, what is it called as? The total material energy, which is unmanifested in the beginning of creation, is called as 8th chapter Bhagavad Gita, Mahat Tattva. Everything in the raw material is called as Mahat Tattva. So Mahat Tattva is by the agitation of the glance of Vishnu, it's churned into motion, and then the things come out. So this is what he's saying. Krishna is saying that unmanifest in their beginning, and then there is a manifestation, and then again there is an unmanifestation when they're annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? So he says there are two classes of philosophers. Sorry, One is called atheist, another is called theist. Atheist also, no problem, because non-believers in the existence of soul, atheists are called atheist. And apart from separate existence of soul, and atheistic philosophy is everything is zero, right? Nirvana is this, everything is zero, everything merges in the zero, everything is zero. Okay, so their philosophy is everything begins from zero and everything ends in zero. So whatever happening in the middle is just a gameplay. Everything is going to end in zero. That's what they called as nirvana. But Vedic philosophy is that, okay, in the beginning, soul is already always there. This is what Prabhupada is clarifying. Apart from the existence of the soul, you see, Prabhupada here, apart from the separate existence of the soul, the material elements remain unmanifested before creation. Can someone explain me the meaning of this line? What does this mean? Apart from the separate existence of the soul, the material elements remain unmanifested before creation. What does it mean? Please try.
Hare Krishna Mataji, isn't it proving the point that the soul is eternal? So irrespective of what happens, whether it's annihilation or creation, the soul is still a separate entity. That does not change.
Yes, very nice. So soul is always there. It's not that the soul is also manifested and unmanifested. No, the soul is not a thing of this material world. Manifestation and annihilation are the qualities of matter. You know, whatever we do, for example, if someone is making a very big house, you know, they are working very hard, earning a lot of money, and they make a very big house. So initially the house was not there, then it came in existence, and the person who's building knows that there is an expiry of this building. One day this house, maybe in my lifetime, maybe after my death, but this is surely going to be annihilated. Is there anyone in the class who is not agreeing with this? So I am taking that everybody is agreeing. So,
Yes,
but
Mataji.
it's the soul. Thank you. The soul is not a thing of the material world. The soul is there. The soul just comes in the material world and takes part in this bodily play. So this is very nice. This is from actually second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, what Prabhupada is writing. From this subtle stage of unmanifestation comes manifestation. And the first thing that comes is ether. So what is the quality of ether? What is the quality of ether? Am I audible?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes, Mataji. Ether. It's Kshetra.
Evaporates.
Sound. Ether. The sound
Ether.
is the function of ether. The
Okay.
sound is produced in ether. That is why sound vibration is so important. Srila Prabhupada explains it in second canto Srimad Bhagavatam chapter 5 and 6. You can go back and refer. A little bit in fourth also, that ether, the property of ether is sound. Prabhupada, when he gives lecture, he claps like this. See this clap, the sound produced is produced in ether. Material science hasn't gone there, but Vedic knowledge is already there. So he says that is why the sound is important. We are all a production, our mind is a production of the sound. Everything has sound. Even if there is an atom, inside the atoms, the particles of atom are rotating and they are producing sound. You know, in devotee care, in the temple, once a month the devotees meet, and this meeting is called devotee care. So my friend was telling me that they did, Leela Madhurya was telling me that all the devotees sat and they wrote that what have been their aspirations before coming to Krishna consciousness, what were their ambitions in life. I guess we can do this exercise. If we have time in the end, please remind me. We can do this exercise for 5 minutes. Please remind me. I'll probably forget. So she said, so the devotees were asked to make a list of aspirations and ambitions before coming to Krishna consciousness. Okay, so somebody made a list that I wanted to be an aeronautical engineer and be very successful in my career. I wanted to be married and have a very beautiful wife and a very successful life with children and whatever they wrote. I wanted to. I had a desire to be very famous. So right, so they wrote, and then the next part was, what was your motivation behind doing this action? Sita Mataji, were you there with me when we did this exercise in October batch? Understand Gita? Were you there?
I don't recollect, Mataji.
Okay, maybe.
Mataji, we did it in August also in our batch. You asked us to write our desires or the intention of coming to this.
Yes, but not the sound. Yes, we're right. So now the exercise is that write down the ambitions or aspirations or bucket list, we call it, or they call it. And then the next column, write down what was the motivation behind doing it. So was the motivation because the parents were pushing? Was the motivation because the society has made as such gradation that unless and until you're educated, your life has no value? Or what is the motivation? So they made the list, and interestingly, they found, this was a discovery, self discovery, that every motivation had a sound behind it. Like mother said, or father said, or the society said, or my own mind told me, or the world told me. So there is a sound. So that is why Srila Prabhupada says, catch the vibration of Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, catch it. Because right now we are not catching it. Right now we are catching the vibration of all these things. So we should do it. So that is why sound is very powerful. The sound vibration can change the course of our lives. Chanting Hare Krishna has changed the course of my life for better. I'm happier. I don't know what I would have been if I didn't chant. So from ether, by transformation of the matter, air is generated. Now, if the ether has only sound, air has sound and touch. Okay, air is generated. And from air, fire is generated. So from air, fire is generated. So air has what? Sound and touch. Fire has what? Sound, touch, and form. Now from fire, water is generated. So fire has what? What potencies? Sound, touch, and form. Now water has sound, touch, form, and taste. And from water, earth is generated. So water has what? What does water has? Sound, touch, taste, form, and earth has. I am missing something. What am I missing? So ether has sound, air has sound and touch, fire has sound, touch, and
Sight.
Sight. Very nice. Thank you. Yes, fire has no form. Sound, touch, and sight. Then water has sound, touch, sight, and taste. And earth has form. I'm sorry, earth has form. None of the fire has no form, water has no form. So this is how the matter is coming into existence. And by churning of this, mixed with the mode of ignorance, mind is created. When mode of ignorance, mind is mixed with the mode of goodness, intelligence is created. Like that, the gradation is given. Srimad Bhagavatam gives, who am I? Where is this thing coming from? At the end, it turns out to be only Sankhya, 24 elements. Soul is not there. But in the due course of times, the things are manifested and unmanifested. That is the difference. So these all things are coming and going, but the soul is eternal, just sitting. And this is very nice. Antavanta ime deha, the thing that is spread all over the body. Nityasya yukta sharirana. The thing antavanta means deha means, this means that body has a beginning and end. Antavanta ime deha. Deha has, body has beginning and end. Nityasya yukta sharirana. But the soul which is sitting in the body is nityasya yukta sharirana. It is independent of the body. It sits in the body but has no oneness with the body. It just sits there. Like I sit in my car, but I don't get mixed with my car. I still stay separate. And at the end, I come out of the car. I don't get in. I don't keep on sitting inside. So material body has no factual existence in relation to the eternal soul. There is no relationship. It is the body is, what is this? No, the body is a dead matter. I'm sorry. The body is a dead matter. It is dead. So the soul makes it living. So when we look at ourselves in the mirror, we say, oh, I am like this. My form is like this. I am so beautiful, or I am so ugly, whatever conception one may have. But actually, we have never seen ourselves. Never. We've actually never seen ourselves. Srila Prabhupada gives example of a person. Let's say a person is saying, oh, my father has died, my father has died. So Prabhupada said, we asked them that who has died? The body is still there. So no, he has left. But what? That means that person never actually saw the father. This is an amazing shloka. This is my favorite shloka. 2.29 is called as an amazing shloka in Bhagavad Gita. Amazing. Who wants to? Any questions? This is very nice. This is a very detailed, lot of reference from Srimad Bhagavatam. Any questions in this? So is it clear that this here Sankhya philosophy is used? Vimla Mataji, Hare Krishna. Please unmute yourself. Mataji, you can unmute yourself. You don't need me. Can
I read that?
Oh, you want to read? Mataji, please go ahead, read it. Any questions in verse number 28?
It's very clear, Mataji.
Okay.
Yes, Mataji. Mataji, I have one doubt. You were telling, I'm making a note of this. Fire is a combination of sound, touch, and one more thing you told. It's not the form.
Sight.
Huh? Okay. Thank you.
The 5 sense organs, Dharneshwari, Mataji.
Okay.
5 sense organs.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
5 knowledge acquiring senses. So 5 knowledge acquiring senses is sense of vision, sense of smell, taste, sense of hearing, and sense of touch. That's what is coming in. Okay, Vimla Mataji, please go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Krishna.
Aschiryavat pashyati kaschidena maschiryavat tataiva chanyah आश्चर्यवश्चैनन् मन्यः शृणोति श्रुत्वा माप्येदं वेद न चैव कश्चित्. Translation. Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. Purport. Since Gita Upanishad is largely based on the principles of the Upanishads, it is not surprising to also find this passage in the Katha Upanishad. Sarvanayapi bahubir yona labhyaha sravantopi bahavo yaha na vidyuha Discharyo vakta kushato sya labda, discharyo jnata kusalanishchitaha. The fact that the atomic soul is within the body of a gigantic animal, in the body of gigantic banyan tree, and also in the microtic germs, millions and billions of which occupy only an inch of space, is certainly very amazing. Men with a poor fund of knowledge and men who are not austere cannot understand the wonders of the individual atomic spark of spirit, even though it is explained by greatest authority of knowledge, who imparted lessons even to Brahma, the first living being in the universe. Owing to a gross material conception of things, most men in this age cannot imagine
how?
Oh, it is clear, not clear. How such a small particle can become both so great and so small. So men look at the soul proper as a wonderful ether by the constitution or by description, illusion, by the material energy. People are so engrossed in subject matter, in the sense gratification, that they have very little time to understand the question of self-understanding, even though it is a fact that without the self-understanding, all activities result in ultimate defeat in the struggle for existence. Perhaps one has no idea that one must think of the soul and also make a solution of the material ministers. Some people who are inclined to hear about the soul may be attending lectures in good association, but sometimes, owing to ignorance, they are misguided by acceptance of the super soul and the atomic soul as one without distinction of magnitude. sorry, it is very difficult to find a man who perfectly understands the position of the soul, the super soul, the atomic soul, the respective functions, relationships, and all other major and minor details. And it is still more difficult to find a man who has actually derived full benefit from knowledge of the soul and who is able to describe the position of the soul in different aspects. But if somehow or other one is able to understand the subject matter of the soul, the one's life is successful. The easiest process for understanding the subject matter of self, however, is to accept the statements of Bhagavad Gita spoken by the greatest authority, Lord Krishna, without being deviated by the other theories. But it also requires a great deal of penance and sacrifice, either in this life or in the previous ones, before one is able to accept Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna can, however, be known as such by the causeless mercy of the pure devotee and by no other way.
Very nice, Mataji. Thank you so much. This is such a nice verse. So some people look at the soul, look on the soul as amazing. Some describe him as amazing. Some hear him as amazing, but others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. So there's a 4 things discussed. So look on the soul. Like how do they look on the soul? By looking at the creation, and then they'll try to look for the creator. So Krishna is so nice. Krishna created such a nice rose flower, and some describe him as amazing. That okay, this because of one element in the body, so many big buildings are coming up in the cities, just by one element. The red body will not be able to do that. Or bridges over the ocean. My God, over the oceans there are bridges. Or some hear of him, oh, this is amazing, Bhagavad Gita is amazing. But some people, even after hearing, does not understand. So, so Prabhupada is very nicely, Bhagavad Gita tells us how to scold people, very compassionately scolding, poor fund of knowledge, not austere. These are harsh words. We can call it foolish. This person is foolish, mudha, and this person is lazy. So not austere. What is the opposite of not? What is the other sin? Austere, lazy, right? But Bhagavad Gita tells us, Srila Prabhupada writes like this, that compassionately. There is another word that's coming to my mind, Dvija Bandhu. So Dvija Bandhu, Dvija is a Brahmana who has taken initiation. One is spiritual master by Vedic literature. So that person is called Dvija. Other person may be born in a Brahmana family, but is not behaving like a Brahmana. So we call, okay, you're just a friend of a Dvija. Not like you're not a Brahmana. You're not this friend of Dvija Bandhu. Like that, Prabhupada is writing, poor fund of knowledge and not austere. But basically he means just people are foolish. They're not using the human form of life to find the ultimate solution. Then some men look at the soul proper as wonderful either by constitution or by description, right? And it is a fact that without this self-understanding, all activities result in ultimate defeat in the struggle for existence. Everybody is struggling. Prabhupada is using this word again and again in Bhagavad Gita, struggle for existence. Darwin, what is Darwin's theory? Is it Darwin's theory? That whoever wins...
Yes, Mataji, Darwin's theory, struggle for existence.
What is that theory? What does it say?
It was like survival of fittest, Mataji.
Survival of the fittest. So whoever will be able to win the situation will survive. So Srila Prabhupada was asked this question. Prabhupada said this is a very imperfect conception. Why? Because ultimately no one will survive. No one will survive. So this place, you know, in case we enter let's say a petroleum or a chemical factory, there will be some areas which are red zone, right? Red zone. So don't enter because danger, flammable chemicals, right? Is it right? Because I can't see anyone, so I'm asking right or wrong. At least talk to me.
Mataji, now red zones are available everywhere.
Because of coronavirus. But you understood the meaning that don't enter there because red zone, because of danger, right?
Yes, Mataji.
So This world where we are living, Krishna says before we come here, this is a red zone. Whoever is going to come in is not going to come out alive. But these are very heavy vocabulary, but Srimad Bhagavatam uses this vocabulary. I am not making up these words. These are there. That we are in a red zone. Our situation is, one devotee was explaining once, I was hearing him, our situation is, there's a person, you lock the person up in a room and you tell that person, whatever you want to enjoy, I will give you in this room. Whatever. You want money, you want health, you want whatever, beauty, or fame, whatever you, renunciation, I will give you everything in this particular room. But the minute you come out, I'm going to shoot you. So will that person be able to enjoy anything? Nobody is talking. Am I audible?
We can ask for the gun itself, Mataji.
Well, we cannot. That's a philosophy that one person, Srila Prabhupada gives example, thought that Yamaraj will not come to me if I smear my body with stool. Because stool is such a bad smell, so Yamaraj will feel that this is a foul smelling body. So the Yamaraj will not come only. Okay? So he smeared. So what happened? Will the Yamaraj not come? Take him. So we cannot, no matter what, unless and until we get the mercy of a pure devotee, we get lifted. No matter what we do, whatever. I told you the story of Walt. This class knows the story of Walt Disney, right? Right or wrong? Is there anyone in this class?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, so everyone knows the story of Mr. Disney. Such a billionaire he was before he passed away. So we cannot, by our arguments, by our logic, by our scholarly qualifications, nothing can make us deathless. Only one thing. And what is it? What is one thing? That causeless mercy of a pure devotee. Causeless mercy. I took many years to understand what is the meaning of this word causeless mercy. What does it mean actually? What does it mean? If I ask this class, what does it mean?
I don't know, Mataji.
Okay.
Is it that without any expectation?
That okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay. More? Anyone else?
Without any attachments, Mataji.
Okay. Thank you, Mataji. Yes, Dhaneshwari Mataji.
There is no reason for being a mercy also, Mataji. Yeah. So it's like without anything, he will be mercy actually. So there is no expectation.
Thank you so much. This is the meaning of the word causeless mercy. There is no cause by a spiritual master is so merciful on me. There is no cause. I don't have any qualification to read the scriptures. No qualification. Prabhupada was explaining today. I was listening to his Nectar of Devotion lecture. He was saying, this is Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, the Dvija Vidhanena, the initiation process is not very strict. Is not. In other yugas, Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, initiation process is very strict. Initiation was only given to two varnas, Brahmana and Kshatriya. And Vaishyas and Shudras were not given initiation. But because Vyasadeva says in Srimad Bhagavatam, Kalo Shudra Sambhava, everybody by birth is a Shudra in Kali Yuga. So Dvija Vidhanena, the Vidhi is simple. Just chant Hare Krishna, Mahamantra, and catch that vibration. We don't understand what we have got. You know, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes in in every Kali Yuga. He does not. Kali Yuga, the duration is 432,000 years, right? So in one day of Brahma, there are how many years, earthly years? Is it 8 billion, 64 million, if I remember correctly? I apologize if this is not the right number, but somewhere like that.
Yes.
Brahma's one day. Is it correct, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji. One day is 10,000 Mahayugas, and one night is another 10,000 Mahayugas.
So, so 1 day of Brahma in our calculation, 1 day, like for us,
Yes.
our day, that 12 hours for Brahma is 8,64 million years for an hour. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes once in 100 in 1 day of Brahma, once in 1 day of Brahma. So once in 1 day of Brahma means earth so many years pass, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes once in 8,064 million years. Mahaprabhu comes once. So this Kali Yuga where we are sitting right now is called as Golden Kali Yuga. Why? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came and gave Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Other Kali Yugas that we were in, we did not get Hare Krishna Mahamantra. We did not. Actually, we don't even know what we have. We don't know. You know, there's a kahavat, there's an idiom, right? Pandar ka jane adrak ka swad. What can you tell? Monkey, what can you teach? So we don't know what we have, but the Shastras know what we have. And it's powerful. Imagine people living in Satya Yuga for 1 lakh years and doing meditation for lakh years, then getting the realization of the self. Or Treta Yuga living for 1/10 of 1 lakh is how much? 10,000. So 10,000 years. So they are doing fire sacrifices and then they realize the self. Then 1/10 of 10,000 is 1,000. So Satyayug, Tretayug, Dwapar the age maximum is 1,000 years. So doing elaborate temple worship for 1,000 years of their lifespan, they realize who they are. Kali Yuga, the maximum lifespan is 100 years. That also maximum people don't catch. Just by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, same result is obtained just by chanting. So we don't know what we have, only by causeless mercy of a devotee. What reason Prabhupada had to come to America? What, at the age of 70? I have seen my grandfather at the age of 70. Feel very weak. They were tired. They want to be retired and they want to rest, and they want to watch TV all day or news or play cards. Right? So, but Srila Prabhupada came to America for 28 days travel in the cargo ship, not even a passenger ship. Why? Because he wanted to give this Krishna consciousness. He was not invited. People are not waiting for him on the Boston Harbor when he landed there. He was alone. He came. Such a big sacrifice of a saint we have in our lives, and we don't utilize because we have no time. Right? Okay, I'm sorry. Any other question? This amazing shloka, we must memorize this shloka. So, who will read the next one if no questions?
Now, Gayatri Mataji has volunteered to read 30.
Okay, Mataji, please go ahead. Thank you, Prabhu.
Dehi nityam avadhyoyam dehe sarvasya bharata tasmat sarvani bhutani natvam shochitumarhasi. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any living being. Purport. The Lord now...
One second. Are you reading from the book, Mataji?
Yeah.
Okay, so therefore you need not grieve for any creature, not for any living being, any creature.
Okay, it is from the book, it's like that. Okay.
Yeah,
I'll read from here.
Okay.
Okay. The Lord now concludes the chapter of instruction on the immutable spirit soul. In describing the immortal soul in various ways, Lord Krishna establishes that the soul is immortal and the body is temporary. Therefore, Arjuna as a Kshatriya should not abandon his duty out of fear that his grandfather and teacher Bhishma and Drona will die in the battle. On the authority of Sri Krishna, one has to believe that there is a soul different from the material body, not that there is no such thing as soul, or that living symptoms develop at a certain stage of material maturity resulting from the interaction of chemicals. Though the soul is immortal, violence is not encouraged, but at the time of war it is not discouraged when there is actual need for it. That need must be justified in terms of the sanction of the Lord and not capriciously.
Very nice. So this is the last verse which explains compassion. Arjuna's reason not to fight because they are the objects of my compassion. My family is the object of my compassion. I cannot kill. So Krishna spends maximum time describing this because it is very, very hard to get this not out of a living entity's heart. It's very, very hard. So Krishna spends also a good amount of time. Again, he's repeating, he who dwells in the body is eternal and can never be slain. Dehi nityam avadhyo ayam. So Dehi nityam. Dehi nityam. Dehi means, remember, Dehi no asmin yatha dehe. Dehi means the owner of the body. Yes, here. Dehi means the owner of the material body. Nityam, the word nitya means eternal. And nityam means eternally. So this is avadhya, cannot be killed. I am this soul. This soul, which is the owner of the body, is eternal and cannot be killed. This is the meaning. Dehe sarvasya bharata. It is Dehe means body. Sarvasya means everyone. Bharata is Arjuna's name. Okay, so son of Bharata or descendant of Bharata. So it is present in everybody. Tasmat means therefore. Sarvani bhutani. Sarvani, all. Bhutani means living entity. Na tvam sochitam arhashi. So don't think that you're killing. Na tvam sochitam. Sochitam means think. And arhasi means, and sochitam also means to be sad about. Or what does Prabhupada say here? Sochitam means to lament. And arhasi means deserve. So living entity, it does not deserve. You should not grieve for anyone. So this is the meaning. Each and every word is a nectar. Each and every word. There is no language other than Sanskrit which is so perfect. He who dwells in the body is eternal and can never be slain. Actually, when we become self-realized, not just knowledge about it, but realized, we become fearless. We become fearless because we fully realize that I'm part and parcel of Krishna. What can happen to me? Nothing. That does not mean that I go and put my head inside the inside a pot. No, but it means that I get confident about my destination. Everybody is in trouble. Everybody is struggling. Why? Because they don't know where they are going. They don't know what is the ultimate gain. So on this authority, so this concludes the discussion that compassion. So he has completely said that your compassion should be applied to the soul and not to the body in various ways. Any questions? Anybody? No questions? So which was your favorite explanation, if I may ask? Does someone want to tell me? We can finish early today. Which was your favorite? You know what was my favorite explanation? My favorite explanation is 2.14. Matra sparsha sukandaya sitoshna sukha dukkha daha. Whenever I feel upset about something, immediately this verse comes in my mind. That is why it is important to memorize. These verses come and save you or me.
The properties of soul, Mataji. Last week we covered from 222 to 227 we covered. It really was very captivating, and it was staying in the mind throughout the week. That's what the soul part. Even if without referring, also we could recall some words. So the experience also was very nice, extremely very nice.
But we have to live these. These are live. Thank you. Krishna's words are so nice, but we have to live this philosophy. It's not that the philosophy is there and I am there, and then there is a gap. To practice this philosophy because this philosophy will save us from the hands of danger. So which is your favorite? Tell me, please raise your hand. Which is your favorite explanation? I told you
mine is 22, Mataji.
Which verse?
Verse 22. Verse 22.
No, Natve evam. No, that's 20.
Vasamsi
Jirnani
yata vihaya navani grihanti naroparani tatha sharirani vihaya jirnani anyani samyati navani dehi.
Very nice. So what do you like in this verse?
Actually, it gives, this verse gives like how we change, that is the soul leaves the body, one body to other body, like how we change our new clothes, the old ones to new ones. So that means the soul is eternal and then it will never change. So that concept it defines Mataji. That's very nice actually.
Okay, good. I have few questions, maybe one question. Okay, someone else wants to tell me what is your favorite explanation? Think about it. Yes, Annapurna Mataji.
Mataji, mine is the...
Yes, yes, Mataji. I like today's that ether, water, and that I liked it because I didn't know about that, and I like that.
Ether, sound, air comes.
Yeah, ether, sound,
Comes.
fire. Yeah, it's nice, Mataji.
Water comes.
Yeah.
Water, earth comes.
Yes.
So that's nice. Yes, Rashmi Mataji.
Mataji, there is a concept called as Panchabhuta. Is it what you are talking about here? Water, air, fire, wind. Is Panchabhuta?
Yes. That's not a name. It means 5 elements, which are earth.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Passive developer.
Is this is the same thing?
Yes, it is the same thing. Yes.
Yeah. So our senses are Panchabhuta, and
our senses are nothing but made of all these things, not internal.
Okay.
For example, we can see only through the fiery element, right? Sun, right? Or we can smell only through the airy element.
Yes.
We can taste only through the earthly element. So, or water. So the senses are made up. First, these 5 things are made. Mataji, you're a little bit jumping ahead. You can go back to 5th verse.
Mataji, I couldn't hear you.
13th chapter Bhagavad Gita, 5th verse.
Okay. Mataji, one more thing is that these, whatever we have explained just now, air, fire, earth, these are all what belongs to this planet Earth. But if my soul desires, if I desire to be a person from sun planet, then these things will vary, right, Mataji? According to the...
Everywhere, everything is there. It's just the matter of a ratio. Srila Prabhupada explains this in Srimad Bhagavatam. Everywhere, everything is there. It's just a matter of the ratio. For example, the ratio of fire is more in sun. The ratio of what is it? Snow. What is snow made of? Water. The ratio of that...
Yes, Mataji.
Is, I don't know what to say. Snow. How do you say that? But that is more in moon. But it also has wind. It also has earth. It also has touch. It also has sound. Everything is there. But it's just a matter of the ratio.
So the entire universe is made up of these 5 elements, if we to summarize.
Not entire universe.
Material world is made up of these 5 elements. Only thing, the ratio may vary based on different planets, its properties.
The entire material universe is made up of total 24 elements, of which 5 are these.
Okay, Mataji.
So I don't want you to sit with the thing that only 5 elements. No, there are 24 elements, of which 5 are these. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
For example, mode of passion, mode of ignorance, and mode of goodness is not in the category of earth, water, fire, air, ether. Okay, that's unmanifested nature. Mataji, I will show you the verse. You're interested, right? So this is very nicely explained, and I had to spend a lot of time understanding it. That's why I remember it. You're seeing my screen? Bhagavad Gita, chapter 13, go to verse 5.
Yes, Mataji.
So, is it verse 5? Activities of the knower? No, it's not. One second, Mataji. This one, verse 6 to 7. The 5 great elements: false ego, intelligence, the unmanifested, the 10 senses, and the mind. This one. The 5 sense objects till here. Mataji, till here. 5 great elements. This is the 5 great elements, what you're telling me. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. 5 ho gaya. false ego 6, intelligence 7, unmanifested are the 3 modes of nature. So 10 ho gaye. Then 10 senses. One second, Mataji. I always have to do this math afresh.
Mataji, this what is the exact meaning of unmanifested? If you tell me in Hindi exactly the meaning of unmanifested.
हिंदी नहीं मुझे पता. Unmanifested means that mode of passion, ignorance, and goodness which is still not manifested. तीन जो
Is it like sattva, rajas, and tamas?
हाँ, जो प्रकृति के 3 गुण है वो अभी तक प्रकट नहीं हुए हैं.
It has not appeared on earth. It has not appeared.
टोटल उसको क्लोज करके जैसे आप when you have a seed, the seed has a tree inside it, right?
Yes, Mataji.
The tree has a fruit also, right?
Yes, Mataji.
And the tree also has leaves and flower also, right?
Yes, Mataji.
But it is right now in the seed form.
Yes, Mataji.
That's what it means, unmanifested. So,
but there is a scope of it being, it appearing.
It will.
It will appear, yeah.
8, then 10.
Unmanifested is counted as 1, Mataji.
Yes.
So that makes 24.
Yes. Yeah, so yes, I was just doing the math. Yes, Vijay Chandri Mataji. That's you, right? I recognize your voice.
Yes, yes, yes.
So 5 हो गया Mataji, 5 dead elements, earth, water, fire, air, ether. छठा हो गया false ego. 7वां हो गया intelligence. Unmanifested हो गया 8th. 10 senses, so 8 plus 10 is, you are a math teacher Mataji. 8 plus 10 is 18. I passed the exam. Then mind is 19th and 5 sense objects. So 19 plus 5 is 24. These are the 24 things, which is the raw material universe.
Okay, Mataji.
You want to study more in detail, then you go to 3rd.
Yes.
I will show you. I still want to hear from other devotees what is your favorite explanation of the soul so far, what we discussed, and then we can call it a day. And you can enjoy your Diwali. You don't have
Mataji, this is my first day actually in the group.
Yes,
so
Mataji.
I cannot share my experience because I have not heard the previous things. So I can't say which I liked.
Okay, no problem, Vijay Chandri Mataji. You're feeling good? How is your health now?
Yes, better, but I am having some problems. But, listening to you, I forget that.
Actually, I was so mad before I sat for the class. And when I take the class, I also change. I'm not so sadhu. I don't know what happens. But so thank you. Okay, so Rashmi.
Many of us experience the same, Mataji. Yeah, at times we think it is wrong, why we get anger, but after some time we realize actually. But when we sit for these classes and all, it really makes us actually in a good way.
Yeah, it's words of Krishna. Mataji, Rashmi Mataji, 3rd canto, chapter 26, 27, 28. Have fun. This is so nice. Fundamental nature, understanding material nature, Kapila's instructional execution of devotional service. And if you want to read embryology, then you read 31 chapter. So 31 chapter is my favorite part. Prayers of fetus to Krishna. So I'll tell you the secret. So fetus, fortunate prays to Krishna. Fortunate. Not every child in the womb prays. Only the